Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 18th edition of the Chamber Talk with Torrie, the video podcast, proudly sponsored by the Boardman Chamber of Commerce. We are excited today to have a new guest. I've been trying to get him to come on my podcast for probably, 2 years.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. We have Joe Young. He is the owner of Harvest Town Foods. They're a local full-service grocery store here in Boardman. So thank you for joining me today.
Happy to be here.
Excited. We have a few things to talk about. You guys got some new things. You got some updates. We got some talk about the history. So let's just get started. How did your family get into the venture of grocery store business, and what made you invest in the Boardman area and stuff?
Okay, so kind of a fun story. So we'll roll it back a little bit. So my dad's been in the grocery business for over 40 years.
Okay.
And he came up started with independents in the Eugene Springfield area, and then joined the Albertsons team back when Joe Albertsons was still, active and alive in the company. And so anyway, he actually was at one point the youngest store director in Albertsons history. And so he figured out a path that he enjoyed, and he really liked the service to the community, the flexibility that it gave at that time.
Yep.
The structure wasn't as rigid as it is now for the larger corporations.
Right.
And so he was very good at figuring out what each community needed to be successful in each of their venues. And so the pluses and minuses to that were he was their fix-it guy. And so we ended up moving 6 times in 12 years when I was a kid.
Wow.
In fact, we moved 7 days after my youngest sister was born. So anyway, he transitioned back once he moved us back closer to family and where he wanted to raise his family. He then jumped into the independent grocery side, and that was with a store in Crestwell, Oregon, where he'd purchased ownership interest in.
So he started out in Crestwell, and then what brought you guys here to Eastern Oregon? How did that journey transition?
What I was doing at the time was I worked as an archery pro. I worked for the Bow Rack in Springfield, Oregon for 5 years with Wayne and Lisa Endicott. And there were a couple of young men that had gone down on a baseball scholarship to Lane Community College that became friends of mine. So Nate and Justin Simmons ended up transitioning down that way. And we had similar hobbies, and so anyway, we started running around together, and they introduced me to a beautiful blonde lady named Angela.
Yes.
Well, it was Angela Edwards at the time.
Yeah.
And so when we decided, we were going to get married, I moved up here to the Hermiston area initially, and that was in 2002. And so I was actually, you knew me back in my past life. I did commercial and ag insurance in the area for 15, 16 years. And so anyway, during that process, grandkids are a heck of a draw.
Yes, they are.
And so my folks were transitioning up and down the gorge to visit and see the grandkids grow and do. And it was in late 2009, I believe, I'm pretty certain, they were making a trip home, and they stopped in just to see the store. And just a conversation began between Dean and my folks. And so, part of that conversation was, I need to figure out, is there a market for being able to sell my stores? I need to maybe tell my wife that this might be an option, see how all of that goes. And they ended up purchasing the store in July of 2010.
Okay.
And so the market was good for him selling the store that he had down there. And then they relocated up here to the Eastern Oregon.
Yep.
And so he came in, and he's not one to sit still very well either. I come by that honestly.
Right.
And so some changes started to be made kind of immediately.
So your dad came here to Boardman and initially purchased the store and started the store. And was the Boardman grocery store the only one you guys owned, or did you guys?
At that time.
At that time.
He had sold, so he had sold the store that he had in Halsey That was the last of the stores that he'd had down in the valley.
Gotcha.
And so he'd sold that store, and then transitioned that equity, moved the corporation from the Halsey store to Boardman when he transitioned.
Yep. So those who are you joining us today, this is Joe Young, owner of Harvest Town Foods. And when we're referring back to the previous owner, that is the Kegler family, a local family that's been here in our area for years and known as the Kegler grocery store back in the day.
Sure.
And then it transitioned, and now it's Harvest Town Foods.
Harvest Town Foods.
Yes. So just love the history that grocery stores go. And it seems like that is common in the grocery store world. These smaller rural grocery stores, they tend to just go from family to family.
Generally.
Yep.
Generally.
So it's great to see that. So how long so you guys have owned the store since 2010, and we've seen a lot of updates.
Few, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about some of the new updates you guys have just completed inside the store.
So we just updated the entire produce case section. That was It takes a few months of planning, and I want to say that I appreciate all the help that I receive from my crew, from the local contractors that we work with, in order to make those projects successful. Everything looks great on paper until you start ripping things out of.
Yes.
And so we had very little disruption.
Really, you did, and I went in there one day and it was all gone and had these racks with these little bins, and I'm like, this is a new way to purchase produce.
It was, and the blessing that we had was the staff that I have in that department had worked out their shifts to where I always had somebody there. We had it was a very nominal impact to our consumers.
Yes.
That's a huge issue for us. Is customer service is number one. I mean, we really work hard to provide a great customer service experience for our community.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, every day we work to get better.
Yeah.
Nobody bats 1,000.
Nope.
So even with that, I mean, we're humans as well. It's this is climate wise. There's frustrations around the fact that our cost of goods coming in the back door reflects what the cost of goods going out the front door is going to be. And so it's one of those things where all of us are working through this. Man, we keep getting some curveballs thrown at us, but as a community, the blessing of where we live, I think most of the time we're pretty good at adapting to those. I mean, we face the COVID stuff.
Yep.
We've come through that. We've been able to figure out, how to get, the right items back in the right places and the right volume in the store.
Yep.
2019, prior to the COVID thing, the state of Oregon passed a new egg mandate that came into effect January 1st of this year.
Yeah.
That it's a misnomer, unfortunately. They're not cage-free eggs. They just enlarge the
building
cage,
that they're in.
right, the cage size that they're in, and now all of your suppliers had to make that adjustment. So they lost how many laying layers they would have.
Yeah.
And so that reduced that access. And at one point, I mean, we saw a 600% increase in what the cost of goods. And people were already feeling a pinch.
Right.
Now that started to settle out, and so we're able to adjust to that on a week-to-week basis. But we really work hard to make sure we pass the best value on items like that on, based on what it's going to cost us.
Yeah, and the new produce area.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's very appealing. Easier to find your produce. Goods are going to last longer.
Oh, absolutely. The
shelf
misting
life.
system is unreal.
Yes.
So that was actually designed in Europe. It is actually, I mean, I can get all kinds of information out from people. There's things I know really well about it, and there's things I'm like, I'm going to trust you.
It works.
But what it does is it basically increases the humidity level within the case without it being wet.
Okay. Gotcha. I didn't know how that misting system works.
And so there's actually a reverse osmosis system in the back. It actually comes through. It's very controlled. The folks come through and they update. I mean, so It's on a phenomenal service contract with those folks.
That's cool.
It runs nonstop, and then once an hour it has a purge. And so anyway, it's
Cool.
it's very cool.
And then next to it are doored
Yes.
coolers. And that just keeps a stable temperature
Correct.
for the
salads, the bag salads,
salads.
and so the freshness, air temperature change, especially on your lettuce type items.
Yep.
That's where the product is still good, but you start to get that discoloration.
Yes.
They call it rust.
Yeah.
And you're going to see significantly less. I mean, we never had a refrigeration issue in where they were at before.
Yeah.
But with having the sealed doors,
Doors.
there's just no environmental change that's going to impact that. Especially with refrigeration, there is a cycle that they go through that defrosts those systems, and so it increases that air temperature. And so that's something that you're always trying to balance so that the way the cases don't freeze up.
Yeah. That's cool. So that being said, so you did that, and then you had flooring. And then now you don't have flooring, and now you're back to like polished concrete.
So,
I like the new look though.
Yes,
I do like it.
I love it.
Yes.
And if you'd asked for a steel surface concrete floor, it wouldn't be nearly as eye appealing as the flooring that we have currently. So, the process in that is the general consensus on grocery stores when that store was built is you put in VZT tiles, and so all of the floors were tile floors in every grocery store on the planet.
Yes, it was.
And they were fine. There had been significant changes in how the store flowed over the different ownership.
Yes.
In fact,
aisles used to go the other direction.
absolutely.
And,
Produce case used to be up front by
Yep.
where the doors are. I mean, so there are all of those changes. But you're not going to refloor 11,000 square feet of flooring and trying to find the same tile or have enough tile to make that look right was impossible.
Yes.
And so we had these weird race tracks of different flooring colors throughout the entire store. And so we utilized a local contractor that does a phenomenal job. That's Jason Horn at Horn's Home Improvements.
Yep. He does a great business.
And him and I have worked together since before he even had a contractor's license for this. And so I helped him get all of that put together. And so as a go-to when it was ready to do something with it, he was my go. He went through. We picked the best option that the flooring manufacturer recommended, 4,000 PSI, all of the things that were supposed to be great. Installed it per their manufacturer, the manufacturer's specs, and it didn't hold up. And so what ended up occurring was the corners were chipping out in spaces. And then we're not going to have dirty floors.
Right.
So then as you mop and keep your floors clean throughout the store, the moisture was going down. Well, the new luxury vinyl plank flooring can live on the bottom of the ocean. But the moisture trapped between the VZT tiles underneath and the laminate flooring above was degrading the adhesive that was holding the tiles down.
Oh, gotcha.
And the tiles were starting to curl. So then you're rolling pallets over the top of tiles that are giving up the ghost, and now you have imbalances.
Yep.
And so then it really started to take the flooring out.
It really did.
And, Jason was phenomenal. He's like, look, we can go after the manufacturer. I said, yes, but that makes me have to go after you. I said, that's not the option.
Yeah.
So we survived with it. You work through, and I got introduced to a contractor that does the floor grinding.
Yes.
And so part of that was the expense piece of removing the laminate flooring, removing the tile. And here's why we are so lucky to live where we do and have the relationships with some of the outfits that Jason came in and took care of that for me because he respected the fact that I wasn't willing to endanger his business.
Yeah, local customer service.
And so anyway, you couldn't ask for a better operation. And then the guys that came in, they came in from the Vancouver area.
Yeah.
They worked nights like crazy. I will tell you, I will say a few of us down at the store definitely ran tile removing tools while they were off during the day, because everything we could do to move them ahead each day
Yeah.
just made the project go faster
Faster.
for them in the evenings.
Yep.
And so I love the way the floors turned out.
I do too. I like the polished
It
look.
looks like you're walking on a creek bottom.
Yep.
If you'd have done a steel finish, it would have just been concrete floors
Concrete.
that would have been screened out and you wouldn't have seen the aggregate.
Yep. Yeah.
And so it's really cool.
It is cool. And I like it because it's a good contrast between the new black cases, and it's just giving a really fresh feel on the inside of the store. So
Yep, it's fun.
love it. So what do you have planned? What are your next updates and cases and stuff like that? Are you going to continue to work your way around the store? Or
Most everything else is in good condition for the holding power. So one of the main reasons for the produce case upgrade was in our cold case, we had a 4-deck, 24-foot case system. And so that limited how much holding power we had in the wet rack, the refrigerated rack. I can't hardly make the store any bigger.
nope.
And so how do we meet that need? And so we went to a 6-deck, 24-foot.
Yeah.
And then we had an 8-foot case on the end that held salads.
Yeah.
So we were able to actually move that 3-door freezer case that holds Randy's, specialty, meats, the frozen fish, all of that out. And it worked out. We're within a ½ inch of dead on with that fitting exactly perfect across the board. And so we were able to extend the salad case by 4 feet.
That's cool.
So now instead of 32 feet of refrigerated case on that wall, we have 36 feet. And, some of the new cool items in there, the hummus offerings. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
I did see that. Is that a new addition to the store? Okay.
Absolutely. So the hummus, some of the specialty salsas, the specialty guacamole, and
I did see that.
all of that is really cool. And so those were some neat things that we were able to add with having that extended 4 feet within that set.
Perfect.
And
Yeah, it's
so
always nice to see new product coming in and stuff. Yes.
you'll see some changes. There's some things that I would really love to start working on. Our service deli does a phenomenal job.
Yes, it does.
We
My
have people
favorite
that
place.
we have people that time their trips coming by so they can stop to make sure they get the fried chicken from the store.
Right.
And we are very, very, very regulated on how our oil turn. What mix goes into those.
Yes.
So you're never getting an odd flavor. You get what
you get.
You get what you get every time, and there's no question as to whether or not the oil should have been done yesterday. It was done.
Right.
And so, they do a great job in there, but we need a little more holding power. So I'd like to go from a 5-foot to a 6-foot. The case that's in there, is doing great, but there's been some service stuff here and there. It's like any piece of equipment over time. There's a couple of neat things that are out there. There's a rotisserie system that would be fun that I would like to put in. I've got to have some power adjustment made to be able to move a refrigerator and freezer unit to a different wall, and then bring that in. And so it would actually turn and do the rotisserie chicken.
That'll be fun.
So that's going to be fun. But all of these are large ticket items. None of these things are inexpensive on their own.
Right.
And so it's like anything, we bid off this project.
Yeah.
We work really hard to remain, as our debt service as light as possible. If you're constantly worried about making a monthly payment on an interest, it makes everything else run tighter.
Yep.
And so we're pretty blessed to be in a situation where we can run that and cash flow those things. And so you'll see those as it makes sense to be able to do it and cash flow those items.
Nice. That's awesome. So another new thing, and I have to say I love the new app, and I'm getting more and more used to using it.
Yeah.
Is your new app, and then your coupons and stuff like that.
Oh,
Let's talk about the app.
Okay. So that was a fun process. There's actually a couple of vendors out there that offer those. And we went with a company called RSA. And as far as the support piece from them, it's been fantastic. There's no down times there. When it needs to run, it runs and it functions very effectively. The other option would have required, we'd put new check stands in a few years ago. They're not very old. It would have been another piece of equipment. We would have had to drill holes in and mount. And I'm like, I'm not really all that interested in drilling
No.
holes in these.
Right.
And so anyway, we went with the program we did. It took us a little while to learn, how to make sure all of those things were done as effectively. So thank you guys for bearing with us. It's a learning process anytime anybody does something new.
Absolutely. And it's a learning process for the consumer as well, learning that it's there and the staff understanding how to use it and showing the consumer. Because I've been the one person like, I know I have coupons on here, but where are they and how do I use them, or, how's that benefit?
So here's one of the cool things you can do. You can actually, before you ever leave the house, you can go through and add the coupons on the items.
Yes.
You don't have to flash your phone at us. We have a phone option. And any coupons that you've put onto before you come down to do your shopping.
Okay.
So if you want to speed your process up a little bit,
Yes.
you can go ahead and preload all of those coupons onto, a live coupon for your app.
Oh.
When you come in, you go, I'd like to do the coupon, but I want to do it by phone number. We have a touch screen system. We select that. You put your phone number in just like you would at some of the larger
Safeway
major
and stuff like
markets.
that. Yes.
And it will automatically pull those down. So you don't have to do that while you're standing in the store.
That's nice.
I
did not know that.
The other piece that is really cool is, and I'll use Procter & Gamble as one of them. So, that's some of your detergents, your more expensive detergents. They issue a lot of national brand coupons on those items. When there's a scan feature on the app, there's a little scan bar when you go in, and you can click on that, and it will bring up your camera.
Okay.
You take the UPC of the item and you scan it, and it will tell you if there are any national brand coupons available for that item.
And it'll be competitive.
Absolutely.
All
and
right.
that automatically just rolls right off for you when you come up.
I did not know that either.
So you can, as you shop through the store, your national brand items that get more ad support and coupon support, they're there, and you can search through that on the app, or you can scan the individual item that says, I like to buy Sensodyne toothpaste.
Yep.
Is there a national brand coupon on that today? You scan it. If there's one live, it will show, and we'll ask, do you want to add that? If not, then...
All right. So it's not only getting the coupons within your own store.
Oh, absolutely not.
Outside even more.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I did not know that either. So here we are learning something new. This is why we have these podcasts.
Absolutely.
To talk about this stuff. You can, as a consumer, you can find the app information. We will probably drop this in our comments.
Yes.
And then at the register.
I have a guy that's really good at making sure. We also have a Facebook page.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay, that's new, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's it?
I'm not a big social media guy.
I know you are, but you know what? This is the world we live in right now.
Yes. So
what's the social media page called?
Yeah, it's Harvesttown Foods.
Okay, on Facebook
on
only?
Facebook, yes.
Oh, you're just we're tipping the toe in the social media.
Yeah, they're dragging the old guy along.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Good work for the young guys that are behind the scenes.
Yes, I appreciate them immensely. Every day.
Love it. So you can go to Harvesttown Foods, their Facebook page.
Correct.
You can find more information on the app.
Absolutely.
You can find information.
There's QR codes at each of the lanes.
Okay.
So pull up everybody runs a smartphone anymore because they won't let me have the old ones that flip, that don't break.
They won't.
And so anyway, you just open up your camera. You can scan the QR code. It will take you into either the Apple, iTunes store.
Yep.
Or the Google, or the Google Play.
Store. Yep.
There you go. See,
you're learning.
Well,
An old guy
steady by leaps and jerks.
I love it. So, do you guys have a website?
No.
No. Okay, we're gonna stick to social media.
Yes.
Okay, social media and good old face-to-face conversation.
And here's what I will say: we're going to come back to we choose to live in a community like
community
Boardman.
feel. Yep.
We are who we are.
Yes.
And adding one thing there to manage, I'd much rather us expend our labor, our efforts into things that bring a direct improvement to our consumers than just busy work.
Right. Yep. And that goes back to that customer service, that small community customer service where you walk in and people always just say hi to you, and it's a very friendly environment.
Absolutely.
That's key in these small communities that we have, and especially Boardman. And We're growing. I have to say, I used to go to the grocery store and know everybody there, and
Right.
it's the running joke now. It's like, I don't think I know a soul in this grocery store anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just showing that we're changing and growing, and
Well, and we work really hard. I mean, there's things that we're constantly working to fine tune to continue to meet the expectations for customer service.
Yep.
So you're not going to see self checkout in the store anytime
That's great.
soon. We work really hard, and we have a higher labor expense than other outfits that will remain nameless.
Yep.
That aren't bringing in employees, and they don't value your time because
Right.
they figure once they get you in the door, they got you locked.
Yes.
I joined the store 7 years ago. I've had the same little house for the last 21 years.
Yeah.
And so I commute down here and back every day. I will tell you where in Hermiston even, my wife doesn't make a trip to the grocery store if she doesn't have 45 minutes to an hour. And that's because really it takes 15 or 20 minutes for her to do her shopping.
Yeah.
And 30 or 40 minutes to be able to get through a check stand and get out.
Yes.
I never want the people in the community down here to feel like that.
Yes. Yes.
And so, really, so you'll see, and we don't have any cute phrases that we use over the intercom, but my folks are really good about if you're in line getting checked out and somebody comes in behind you, they're fine.
100%.
As soon as that third person is on, I have enough staff on that we are now calling the next checker up to be able to help make sure that flow gets through those check stands as effectively as possible.
100%. And I appreciate that part as a consumer, not having to stand in line longer than 5 minutes and hold my stuff.
Right.
And it really is. It's not much more than 5 minutes.
And it's worth the labor expense.
100%.
But there's a reason that the other outfits aren't doing that.
Right. It goes back to that customer service, that small
Absolutely.
community customer service. Perfect. So we had a great discussion today. Thank you for joining us today for the 18th edition of Chamber Talk with Torrie. Who knew this was going to grow like it did?
Yeah.
But it has. Joining me today was Joe Young with Harvesttown Foods. Thank you for the great conversation.
It was awesome.
All the information will be found in the links attached to this conversation today. And just remember, you can also rewatch Chamber Talk on the Boardman Chamber of Commerce's YouTube channel. And that will be able to be shareable. And I'm going to say that we can probably get it shared to the Harvesttown Foods' social media page.
I imagine there's somebody that knows how to do that.
I bet you there is a guy that knows how to do that. And so thank you guys, and stay tuned for our next Chamber Talk with Torrie, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Torrie.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me. Thank you.